And new at 10, SLMPD says a 10-year-old boy is now charged with first-degree murder following a shooting that killed a 7-month-old girl in North St. Louis City yesterday. This new development comes as police say they're still in the early stages of the investigation. They believe the 10-year-old boy shot the baby. They also arrested a 19-year-old man on gun-related charges. Officers responded to the shooting off of North Broadway yesterday afternoon. The baby was rushed to the hospital but later died. And this murder charge carries historic weight. Based on our research, this 10-year-old appears to be the youngest person ever charged with murder in Missouri history. Now, the youngest person we could find charged with first-degree murder was a 12-year-old boy in Kaiser, Missouri, which is 90 minutes north of Springfield. This happened in 2010. The 12-year-old was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder after being accused of shooting his mother and stepfather in their mobile home. Until just 2 years ago, Missouri had no minimum age for charging a child with a serious felony, including murder. That changed in 2024 when state law set the minimum age at 12 for certifying a juvenile as an adult. Based on this law, the 10-year-old cannot be tried as an adult.
We're getting our first look now at the 19-year-old charged in the death of a 7-month-old infant. Kamarian Parnell is facing 4 charges, including 1 count of second-degree murder and multiple charges involving child endangerment. He was taken into custody just 1 day after a 10-year-old boy was charged with murder in the shooting on Friday. Detectives say that Parnell is the father of the infant and that he stored a gun underneath a mattress in the bedroom. According to detectives, the 10-year-old boy charged with shooting 7-month-old Kayoma Parker said that he knew where the gun was and had access to it for an extended period of time. The 10-year-old accused of pulling the trigger is charged with first-degree murder. According to our research, he is the youngest child in Missouri history to be charged with murder.
So a 10-year-old is in custody for taking the life of a 7-month-old baby girl, as he was able to get hold of a weapon, and they did go ahead and charge him with first-degree murder. Now, this did happen on Friday the 26th, around 4 p.m. in the afternoon, on the 8400 block of North Broadway in St. Louis. Now, when they got there, of course, they did go ahead and get the baby girl to the hospital. Unfortunately, she was pronounced. Now, she was 7 months old. I believe it is Kayoma Parker. If that is not how you say her name, please forgive me. And then her father, who was 19 years old, was actually there. He has been charged as well because the weapon was his. And 10-year-old did say that the weapon was underneath a mattress. He was able to get to the weapon more than once, and in the past he has been able to get there and get it and grab it and go. So he had access to said weapon. He went and got the weapon and then ended up shooting her. Why? I absolutely have no earthly idea, but he did, and he ended up taking her life. Now, 19-year-old Kamarian Parnell is the father of the little baby. He was charged with second-degree murder, first-degree child endangerment, resulting in the death of a child, and 2 counts of endangerment, welfare of a child by creating a substantial risk. Now, there was another child that was 7 years old that was at the home at the time of this incident, so he was charged, of course, for that. Now, per state law, for some of you people that act like y'all don't understand state law, per state law, a child who is a juvenile would have to be 12 years old to be considered for adult charges. He is 10. He will be staying in juvenile, okay? Per state law. He's too young anyway. I don't understand people trying to make these 10 and 11-year-olds be tried as an adult. He's too young per state law. But a 7-month-old baby girl is no longer here because he had access to that weapon, and unfortunately it is the responsibility of the father that it was his weapon, and the child knew how to get to said weapon, and he has let them know that he was able to get to that weapon in the past. So it's definitely, unfortunately, on the father as well. So this definitely is a very difficult time for this family all the way around, because this is a very heartbreaking situation. I am Keisha. The channel name is Court with Keisha.
This video is going to be filled with code words, just letting you guys know, but get ready. A 10-year-old just got charged with the M word for taking the life of a 7-month-old baby girl. Yeah, guys, let that sink in for a second. This story is truly Truly, absolutely heartbreaking, and should be a huge wake up call for all y'all who own those firearms. Police say in St. Louis, a 10-year-old boy took the life of a 7-month-old baby girl by the name of Kiyomi Parker inside of a home. They rushed that baby to the hospital, but sadly she did not survive her injuries. Now here's where things get even more disturbing. Prosecutors say that the weapon allegedly belonged to the baby's 19-year-old father. Yeah, investigators claim it was left unsecured under a mattress where kids could easily access it. And because of it, the father now is also being charged with second-degree felony M and multiple counts of child endangerment because he didn't know to put the damn thing in a lockbox. Crazy, right? Now, according to the prosecutors as well, the 10-year-old already knew where this weapon was hidden. And he had accessed it before. Yeah, he pulled out and played with it before. So think about that for a second. You have a baby girl that has lost her life. A 10-year-old is now facing some serious charges, and another family member is watching a 19-year-old face serious charges. This is a tragedy that should have never happened, guys, at all. It's another painful reminder that firearms and children are a dangerous combination when weapons of those kinds, of all kinds, are not stored safely. But I want to know what you think. Should adults face even harsher penalties when a child gets access to an unsecured weapon and someone else perishes? What are your thoughts? Reminder, guys, just a quick reminder. Put it in a lockbox. Get a lock for your weapon. Keep it out of reach from the kids. Damn. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Hit the like, hit the follow. We got to do better out here, y'all. We have got to do better for our kids.
A 7-month-old baby girl was killed at a residence in St. Louis, Missouri on Friday, June 26, 2026. Officers say that they were called to a residence in the 8400th block of North Broadway in North City around 4 p.m. after receiving reports of gunfire. When they arrived, they found the infant suffering from a GSW. She was taken to the hospital but later died from her injuries. Authorities did publicly identify her as Kiyomi Parker. Authorities also said that a suspect was identified and arrested. The suspect happens to be a 10-year-old boy. They say that he was taken into custody without incident and charged with first-degree premeditated murder that same day. A 19-year-old man, reportedly Kiyomi's father, was also arrested in connection with the case, and he's expected to face firearm-related charges. According to people who know this family, they are saying that the 10-year-old boy sought out the firearm that was hidden inside of the residence, got it, and intentionally struck Kiyomi. Why that is, we have no clue, but either way, clearly the firearm was not locked up properly if this child was able to get a hold of it, so that's likely why Kiyomi's father is going to be charged with something pertaining to this case. The 10-year-old is going to be tried as a juvenile, which means that he will likely be released back into the public again at some point in his life. Usually when juveniles are convicted on crimes, they do end up going into a facility for treatment, supervision, and rehabilitation. That's likely what we are going to see here with this child as this case moves forward. His identity has not been released because he is a child. The 19-year-old father's identity has also not been released at this particular moment. His family members are actually calling upon him to be released from jail so that way he can mourn the loss of his daughter with his family. What are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know in the comments. My thoughts and prayers are with Kiyomi's loved ones at this time.
Okay, guys. So this story is very, very sad. Um, so the police got a call of a shot fired. So they rushed to the 8400th block of North Broadway in St. Louis at 4 p.m. And that's where they found Kamari Parker with a GSW to her head. Okay, so the 10-year-old boy told police that he grabbed a gun from under the mattress and he was playing with it, touching it from time to time. but he always put it back. But he said that this time when he went to go touch it, he pulled it out, walked over to Kamari, and boom, shot her right there in the head. And this all happened on June 26th. So on June 30th, that was a Tuesday, the police said that they are charging the 10-year-old with first degree murder. Then they took Kamari's dad, Kamaran? Moron? Marion? I don't know. So, Kamarian is being charged with endangering the welfare of a child and second degree murder because he knowingly put the gun under the mattress where the 10-year-old can get it. So that's why he's being charged. And they say there was a 7-year-old in the house at the time as a witness, but it doesn't elaborate no more than that. It doesn't say anything about the mom being in the house either. And one article said that the 7-month-old was his niece. I don't know. No other articles said it was the niece. So, I don't know. So now that the boy turned 11, they put him in the hospital where he could get a psyche evaluation to figure out why did he do this, because there's no motive right now for people to understand why would he just up and shoot a 7-month-old. It doesn't make no sense. So now he's been charged. No, he's not being charged as an adult, but he's in juvenile court. He's going to be charged as a juvenile for first degree murder because I guess Missouri capped it at 12 years old, where you will be charged as an adult. But I really hope they find the motive of why he did this to a 7-month-old, because it can't register in my mind. It just seems like a lot of babies nowadays are just losing their lives over stupid stuff that have nothing to do with them. But hell, what do I know? I'm just a talking head.
So a 10-year-old is facing first-degree murder charges. This happened in St. Louis, Missouri, and he unalived a 7-month-old baby girl. My question is, do they normally charge like a 10-year-old for accidentally unaliving another child? Let me read the news story. Maybe there's more to it. Police say that officers responded to a home in St. Louis after reports of a pew-pewing and found baby Kiyomi Parker suffering from a pew-pew wound to the head. Despite life-saving efforts and being rushed to the hospital, she sadly did not survive. Investigators say that the 10-year-old found a pew-pew that had been hidden under a mattress and accidentally fired it. Witnesses told the police that the child already knew where the pew-pew was kept and had handled it before. There was a 7-year-old child in the home at the time as well. Now the father, 19-year-old Kamarian Powell, he was arrested as well. Police are saying that the pew pew belonged to him. According to the court documents, the dad admitted to storing the pew pew where the child could find it. So the 10-year-old, they're not releasing his identity because of his age, is facing a first-degree murder charge, and he's placed in the juvenile detention center. And they're saying that he is the youngest child to be charged with first-degree murder in Missouri. The 7-month-old's father is being charged with second-degree murder charges. He also has some child endangerment charges, and they're holding him with no bond. Now, the police don't know exactly how the 10-year-old is related to the family. So the 19-year-old father, he's the father of the 7-month-old baby. The 10-year-old, we don't know who his parents are, but can you imagine? I mean, he was at the house, so obviously he knows the family. He's a friend of the family's kids, whether he might be a nephew. But he came over there and he unalived his 7-month-old daughter. And then the dad is having to sit in prison. He's going to spend time in prison for second-degree murder. But what about the 10-year-old boy? Being that he's 10 years old and it was done accidentally, should he still be facing first-degree charges? Y'all let me know, because I feel like back in the day, back in the past, there's other cases where it was done by accident and they didn't charge the child that pew the other child. But y'all let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't know the cases. I don't know. Help me out with this one.
A 10-year-old in St. Louis has been charged with first-degree murder for the murder of 7-month-old Keomi Parker. Allegedly, the little boy told police that he got the gun from underneath a mattress, and said it was not his first time that he had retrieved the gun from underneath the mattress, but said that he walked over to the little girl and he shot her in the head. Now, what reasons that he have or gave, or did I even believe the truth of what the police said? Because I don't believe that he was questioned the right way, and the fact that they charged him with first-degree murder alludes to the fact of what color that he is. They can't eat. He is stated to be the youngest in Missouri state history to be charged with murder, and kids they have to be at least 12 years old to be charged as an adult. So more than likely he'll be charged as a juvenile. Now, in addition to the fact of the 10-year-old who has not been identified being charged, they also charged Keomi Parker's father with second-degree murder and first-degree child endangerment that resulted in the death of an infant. He also was charged with 2 more counts of child endangerment. So he's facing a lot as well, because it was his gun. He admitted that it was his gun and that he did keep it underneath a mattress. I hate that people do not buy a gun like they got money or to get a gun or want to have a gun, but you don't have it in a lockbox, a safe place, especially when you know, because they said even another 7-year-old child was in the home. So thank God that child was not harmed. I do hate that a child lost their life. I do not think that a 10-year-old knew the consequences of their actions. These are the 10 things, in my opinion, y'all. This is just me purely going off what I don't know, in the fact that I think it's the video games. I think it's the social media. I think it's the videos that people let their kids watch. Like I said, the video games, the violent video games that they let them play, and kids don't realize these things are not fictitious, and people don't just get up and come back and things like that. I don't think, because why would he have just picked up a gun and walked over to an infant, y'all, and shot her in the head? They tried to resuscitate her and they worked all the way to the hospital, but unfortunately when Keomi got to the hospital, she was pronounced dead. My condolences to Keomi Parker's family and loved ones. I could not fathom what they are going through, and even with the 10-year-old, just without me even knowing what happened, y'all, I just can't believe. I know that things do happen, but there has to be a method behind that madness. I just don't know what it is. I'm not usually able to garner any sympathy for people that put kids in harmful ways or things that definitely result in death. But there is a part of me that does feel sorry for the 10-year-old that has been charged with taking the life of 7-month-old Keomi Parker, and also for her father who left the gun allegedly underneath his mattress. And the way he's been charged with a plethora of things, but I know one of them being second-degree murder, and he has no bond. So knowing that he is more than likely not even going to be released to be able to attend his daughter's funeral. I don't know what type of father that he was, but I'm assuming that since his daughter was in his care, that he was involved in her life. And I cannot fathom, having to contend with fighting those charges and fighting for his life while still struggling with trying to compute what happened to his daughter, and then the guilt that I'm pretty sure that he feels as well. I really do hope that someone finds out what happened, what was it going on in the mind of a 10-year-old to do such a thing, because again, he's the youngest in Missouri's history to be charged with murder, and he can't be charged as an adult because they don't allow him to be charged as an adult in the state of Missouri unless they're 12 years old. But he was charged with first-degree murder. But again, I don't feel that a 10-year-old really knew, the finality of what he had done. And although he said that he had picked up the gun, before, it definitely does, like the father does bear responsibility. I'm not trying to absolve of any type of responsibility, but I think it is unfortunate. And of course, I do not think he ever thought this would occur, especially with his daughter having to pay the price. Again, another cautionary tale for gun owners, especially if you have young kids that are in, close vicinity of the weapon. Lock it up. Put it out of their reach, their view. Don't even let them know where you have it, because what reason would they need to know where it's located anyway? My condolences to little Miss Parker's, Keomi Parker's family and loved ones.